What up? What up? What up? I'm coming in here. I'm in the room waiting for the Care Bears to slide through. We got some stuff we got to talk about tonight. Let me get my little self organized. I won't be before you very long. We're gonna get straight to the point. When you come through, please hit the like, show your girl some love, and hopefully I could get in and out this bitch. Okay? Oh, just gotta get one more thing. How y'all doing? We're gonna let some Care Bears slide in, and I'm gonna get straight to it. I got my glasses, they're nice and clean. Uh, yeah, just a couple announcements right quick. So yeah, so let's talk about Micaiah Bryant. First and foremost, uh, rest in peace and condolences to her family. This is a sad day for them, and everyone who knows and loves her. So we're gonna get straight into the mix. I was looking at this and I posted it on the gram because we were while you and I yesterday were waiting for the verdict for the George Floyd case. Um, this happened 4:30 yesterday while I was at work, while I was live, sneaking and being on live while I work, while we were waiting for the verdict. Remember, they kept pushing it back. Um, this come to find out, 16-year-old girl ended up being murdered by the police. Okay. So I'm still off the back of that. Grown folks, we continue our day and get ready for the next. And I hop on and off the gram. I try not to be on there like that, but I was on there and then I hear this story. I showed y'all the video on the gram, right? So, and I'm just gonna play it now. It's just a little warning. And I even talked about it last night too, and I was sharing with y'all how I just really didn't have any hope about things changing. I was just being vulnerable. But this is the video that I saw initially that I shared with y'all. Let me play the long version. Especially in this place right now. Yeah, it's definitely an insult. You sound stupid as fuck, bitch. Fuck. The fuck, that girl just got shot. Did he just say that? He said, "Oh my God, he just said that." Boy, shut the fuck up. He shot a 15-year-old. She was fighting. He said she had a knife. As soon as he got out the car, he shot her 3 or 4 times. So don't listen to the news. Oh, she did, so she tried to stab him. No, the fuck she didn't. Everybody out this bitch seen the whole thing. So if they show the news try to say, don't even listen to it, because no. She ain't try to stab him or nothing. And I know the news about to try to say that, oh, she tried to stab him. Watch. No. She ain't try to stab him. I have my niece going like that. You ain't gonna have her going like that. So that's that. That's what we saw. So of course seeing that, well, straight off the back of some George Floyd shit because we gotta wait 8 weeks for a verdict. And we all like, let that pig fry with some biscuits. When's he getting the needle? Like all that, right? I'm seeing all variations of that on the ground. Then we see this, right? So today, after I got off, I was like, you know what? Let me like really look into this because I'm seeing when I'm popping in and out, people are not really like they're saying different things. This isn't just, a case of like George Floyd or like Tamir Rice or like the boy back in '05. I was like 21 at the time. And
This 15-year-old boy got shot by the Cleveland police. He was 15 years old. He was jumping out of the closet. He was fighting with his mom. When he jumped out the closet, the police shot him. Bam, right there, jumping out the closet. So, yeah, so this isn't the same thing, come to find out. So I looked at some news footage for this, okay? And I'm gonna show y'all what I saw. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, is this a nigga moment? Like, what is this exactly? You know? But let me show you the slow down version, okay? Here we go. I'm gonna start it from the gate. Okay. Okay, the date is walking up. They're he's like, "What's up? What's going on?" They're telling him what's going on. Then boom, out the blue, this dude knocks this girl to the ground. And I think he's gonna kick her too. He's gonna walk over and kick her. So the Jake is looking at that. Let's see if I remember that. Well, I knew somebody kicked her. So that dude, it's another dude that kicked her because he got different genes. At the same time, Makaya and the girl in the pink is fighting, and then she's about to stab her, and he shoots her. Okay, so I don't know. They're gonna run it back again, and then the girl runs away. Of course, she drops to the ground because she got blasted. But they're gonna run it back again. Okay. So this is in whole slow motion. I even freeze framed it in the thumbnail where she had the knife out about to stab the girl. Okay, I'm gonna rewind it just for time's sake. I'm gonna rewind it right back to where she was about to get shot. And I'm gonna pause. Dude kicks the girl on the ground. A different dude. So what the fuck was going on? So boom, right here. Right here. She got a knife about to stab the girl in the pink right now. Right now. About to stab her. And then, okay, play, motherfucker. And then he dumps on her. He's about to stab that girl. And he shot her. And then she runs away. I mean, like, one more time. I mean, that's what happened. Let's zoom in. Look, she's about to stab that girl. And the girl, I mean, I don't know, like unpopular opinion here, but she was about to stab that girl. And I'm not saying he was right. Yes, he could have exercised other options. Yes, that's true. We know that. We know this. We know that. Okay. Us. We know that. Okay. But they don't know that. Okay. They don't know that. They don't have that empathy. They don't. And then, not, it doesn't even have anything to do about empathy. We needed empathy for Tamir. We needed empathy for other situations. You know what I'm saying? So people ain't gonna like what I got to say about it, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie about some shit. I'm gonna kick facts. That girl is about to stab that girl. What do you want him to do? I mean, we're not talking about an uncle or a brother or a father of the family. This is a Jake. They're killing motherfuckers for nothing. And so now you're in a scenario where you call the Jakes and you're in the midst of the action, what the fuck you think they're gonna do? What the fuck do you think they're gonna do? Like, do we gotta go into the history of the police one time to get a better understanding? I think we do. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Um, let's talk about the history of the police. Hey y'all, what's good? Let's get into that real quick. And so then you could kind of understand my point. And I think that's why my dad kind of had the kind of opinions that he had. But let's get into that. These motherfuckers, they stem from slave patrol. Okay? That's where they come from. That's really what it is. So let's get into this is from law enforcement, the law enforcement museum.org. Okay? And I'm gonna start from here and I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna drive my point home right quick. Okay, and then like let's say it's me. I real talk do swear that I will, as a searcher for guns, swords, and other weapons among slaves in my district, faithfully and as privately as I can, discharge the trust reposed in me as the law directs to the best of my power. So help me God. This is the Slave Patroller's Oath in North Carolina, 1828. Okay. Let's just read it as is from the Law Enforcement Museum. Okay. When one thinks about policing in early America, well, hold on right quick. 2 seconds. There we go. When one thinks about policing in early America, there are few images that may come to mind. A county sheriff enforcing the debt between neighbors, a constable serving an arrest warrant on horseback, or a lone night watchman carrying a lantern through his sleeping town. These organized practices were adapted to the colonies from England and formed the foundations of American law enforcement. However, there is another significant origin of American policing that we cannot forget, and that is slave patrols. The American South relied almost exclusively on slave labor, and white Southerners lived in near constant fear of slave rebellions, disrupting this economic status quo. As a result, these patrols were one of the earliest and most prolific forms of early policing in the South. The responsibility of the patrols was straightforward: to control the movements and behaviors of enslaved populations. According to historian Gary Potter, slave patrols served as three main functions: to chase down, apprehend, and return them to their owners, to provide a form of organized terror to deter slave revolts, and to maintain a form of discipline for slave workers who were subject to summary justice outside the law. Oh, summary justice. Okay, just a little tinge. Okay. Organized policing was one of the many types of social controls imposed on enslaved African Americans in the South. Physical and psychological violence took many forms, including an overseer's brutal whip, the intentional breakup of families, deprivation of food and other necessities, and the private employment of slave catchers to track down runaways. Slave patrols were no less violent in their control of African Americans. They beat and terrorized as well. Their distinction was that they were legally compelled to do so by local authorities. In this sense, it was considered a civic duty, one that in some areas could result in a fine if avoided. If other patrollers received financial compensation for their work, if they receive compensation for their work. I got to hit those periods. Okay. Typically, slave patrol routines included enforcing curfews, checking travelers for a permission pass, catching those assembling without permission, and preventing any form of organized resistance. As Sally Haddon writes in her book, Slave Patrols, Law and Violence in Virginia and the Carolinas, this history of police work in the South grows out of its early fascination by white patrollers with what African American slaves were doing. Most law enforcement was, by definition, white patrolmen watching, catching, or beating black slaves. The process of how one becomes a patroller differed throughout the colonies. Some governments ordered local militias to select patrollers from their rosters of white men in the region within a certain age range. In many areas, patrollers were made up of lower class and wealthy land owning white men alike. Other areas pulled names from lists of local landowners in the 18th century, South Carolina, land-owning white women were included in the potential list of names. If they were called to duty, they were given the option to identify a male substitute to patrol in their place. First formed in 1704, the South Carolina patrols lasted over 150 years, only technically ending with the abolition of slavery during the Civil War. However, just because the patrols lost their lawful status did not mean that their influence died out in 1865. She argues that there are distinct parallels between the legal slave patrols before the war, extra-legal terrorization tactics used by vigilante groups during Reconstruction, most notoriously the Ku Klux Klan. After the Civil War, Southern police departments often carried over aspects of the patrol. These included systematic surveillance, the enforcement of curfews, and even notions of whom could become a police officer. Though a smaller number of African Americans joined the police force in the South during Reconstruction, they met active resistance. Though law enforcement looks very different today, which I don't see it, the profession developed from practices implemented in the colonies. Okay, so they have oaths, practices, rituals, all kind of shit that they do. You know, it's like a fraternity of sorts, and it stems from a common ideal. So, when we're encountering these, I showed you the badge. The shit is identical. All they did was switched up the words, made it real fancy, okay, and put it out to everybody. Then they went from New York to Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, of course, the Virginia and Carolinas, and all the other states. Like, we're not gonna, this is just where it stems from. So, those traditions, and a lot of them are Freemasons and shit like that. So, a lot of the traditions, beliefs, ideals, and things like that, but they believe in that shit and they do to that day. If something stems from, if it's a system, a group, a fraternity, or whatever, right? A lodge or whatever, right? If it's a system of things, then they're going to carry that out through the generations. Okay, I mean, like even I put the badge on the gram last night too. Like, don't forget where the fuck this stems from. Look at the badges. I don't know who's calling, but they getting ignored. Look at these badges right here. This is from back in the day, the slave world. They had badges, batons, different weapons of choice to take people down. I mean, Jim Crow alone and all the slaves hanging from trees and the barbecues that they had is case in point. So it's like, when we're encountering these people, when we're living our lives, when we see these situations, I think we need to keep in mind, what the fuck that we're dealing with. The shit we can't go, oh, this is old from times of old. When we're making our decisions, when we're making our moves, when we're trying to avoid nigga moments and shit like that, we have to understand what the fuck we're dealing with when we decide to call the motherfucking police. These motherfuckers ain't our friends. Okay? Like, think about the girl who got body slammed by the police when she's the one that called them. She is the one that called the fools and got beat up. So, like, come on. Like, so are we really surprised that this happened? Like, like you're talking to a person who has zero hope. So I'm saying, are you really surprised? What is look at what I just read to you. Look at their history. They're not trained to be tactical and disarming. They're taught to get your motherfucking ass and take you back to who you belong to. That's what they're taught. So I'm just saying, I don't know. It's the unpopular opinion, and I ain't got nothing to do with your feelings. I'm just kicking what the fuck the trill is, and that's the trill. And the quicker we understand that, the quicker we could start making decisions to better protect ourselves. And that's what I think. I think there needs to be, and what do I mean by that? This is what I mean by that. Maybe instead of ignoring the people around you, maybe having some sort of communication and understanding with your neighbors on the type of person you are, the type of neighborhood this is, and start policing our own shit. You feel me? We're going to need different rules for the way the world is now. We do need our black men to step up, but until we are all the way up to par, what we can do is, if we need, like, an example, we could use Pac's Thug Life Code. You know what I'm saying? As a reminder, especially if you live in the hood, maybe that should be a normal. I mean, because the thing is, my brother was saying maybe have more Muslims being the police. I was like, I don't know about that, bruh. Maybe have them policing the streets. Maybe that's an option. What about having that, instead of us relying on a source that could be murderous, that can result in our death? We just want to have a situation resolved. When they call them, they just want her to not maybe stab her, right? But we gotta think, these motherfuckers, if they see some shit and they black, they gonna blast that motherfucker first before they think about, oh, a taser, like a white dude the other day. It's on the gram, circling everywhere. The white dude somewhere off in Texas or some shit like that. He drove off with the cop holding on to the truck. They didn't shoot him. They didn't stab him. They didn't beat him up. Nothing. He got to drive away nice and clean with the date hanging on to the side. They don't think of us that way. They don't care about our kids. They didn't see that she was a 15-year-old girl, 16-year-old girl. They didn't give a fuck about that, because she don't got the complexion for the protection. I mean, I hate to be super cliche, but it is what it is. So maybe I'm not no thug ass dude. I'm not no buff guy. I'm not no tough guy. I'm not military trained or none of that. But maybe this video could present an idea that could circulate a little bit. How about all you gangster ass niggas who is ready to murk somebody else over something stupid as fuck? How about y'all band together and keep your hood on deck? How about that? And what I think also, especially with me living in the hood, and by the way, I'm moving, but with me living in the hood and me growing up in the hood as a little kid in California, it's not the same. It's not the same. Gangsters had, maybe because it was California, but they had some sort of organizational skills. You know what I mean? It wasn't just killing and kidnapping kids and shooting somebody over something stupid as fuck. Now, yes, that shit did happen sometimes, okay? Let's keep it real. But there was some sort of honor. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, since we're in a crunch here and we don't got the Black Panthers to hold us down anymore, how about, we take our tough guys and y'all get together and make sure that the women, the kids, the old ladies, the old men is on deck. How about we do that? I don't know. Maybe that sounds like a bright idea, since you're so thuggish, ruggish, bone and shit, and you ready to murk that nigga because you're listening to some Boosie. I can't stand his music, but I love him as a man. So let's go through this thug life code of thug life right quick, which was written by Tupac off in 1992. Okay. And I thought it would be a good idea to share this with y'all. Okay. Because I think it could be used nowadays, considering what we got going on. And maybe somebody could say something to somebody, and maybe we could all get on code. I mean, we not just lost in the sauce after Malcolm X. We did have Tupac. We did have, Farrakhan. I know some people don't fuck with Farrakhan and whatnot, but I mean, it's obvious we can't depend on the police in our zip codes, especially black zip codes. Due to the redlining, they don't give a fuck. You know what they do? They take the police from the suburbs and bring them to the hood. They have no relation to the people that's around them. The people that patrol the areas in the hood live all the way 20 minutes away across town. So maybe we need to take some motherfucking initiative. So when we got some shit like that with the little Makiyahs and the little Peaches, when they fighting and shit like that, maybe we could call, brother Muhammad right quick, and he could come wrestle her down and calm her down because he know her mama down from the masjid because she thinking about taking her shahada or something. Or because she know one of the gangster niggas who's tired of this shit, right? And she know that he on deck, and she could call no Quan right quick. Yo, can you come through, Quan? I got this bullshit going on. And he know and she know that they gonna listen to him. That's what he wrote this shit for. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew in 92 that we couldn't trust no police. And I think that's around the time where that Asian lady shot that 15-year-old girl over some orange juice. Shot the 15-year-old girl in the fucking head over some orange juice. So, I don't think we need to be all Black Lives Matter because it's cute, which we shouldn't trust them hoes anyway. But I think we should be like, back on how it used to be back in the day, with the traditions and values that was passed down by our leaders. They left great blueprints and examples. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like in this regard, before I start reading this code of conduct, that we have our generation in our 30s, our late 20s, we had an example. That was Pop, because he could get down with the gangsters and he could sit down and talk about and discuss the art of war with your ass all in one ooh-wah, okay? Talk about the quasars and the moon and shit, and roll a blunt with you, and go walk with you to the liquor stuff. That's why we loved him. He didn't judge us because our older brothers, our older cousins was in prison. What he did was gave us some jewels on how we don't gotta be like them. Look at the bigger picture. We got the opportunity to make a change now. I'm just saying. So let's get into this fucking code of thug life, okay? Okay, so one, all new jacks to the game must know A, he's going to get rich, B, he's going to go to jail, and C, he's going to die. So, with you choosing the lifestyle that you choose, you're going to have to accept that those are the realistic possibilities. Don't sit up there and be telling motherfuckers who's trying to get on and get their money up that it's just all good. Like these niggas be in the rap song, oh yeah, nigga, bling bling. Niggas don't say bling bling no more, but I'm balling in the mix and I don't, I take drugs and fuck a bunch of bitches. Like, yeah, but you could also get blasted by your enemy too. And if you get caught with all that work, you could possibly do, 10 to 15 years in jail because you're black. Yeah. So that's what he's saying. Keep it above. Um, Two, crew leaders. You are responsible for legal financial payment commitments to crew members. Your word must be your bond. So I think that's true too. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm losing some people because I'm saying shit they don't like. But I'm just saying it is what it is. And I think that's true. And if niggas around the way is organizing shit to where they can hold each other down, then that's going to make people more solidified. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think the Black Panthers was holding it down for so long? Why do you think they was able to hold? Because they had loyalty towards each other. Anyway, three, one cruise rat is every cruise rat. Rats are now like a disease. Sooner or later, we will get it, and they should too. Well, that's it. Uh, Four, for those who are just coming in, we were discussing um We're discussing the unfortunate murder of Ma'Khia Bryant and the responsibility that we're going to have to take in our own streets. Okay. Um, Crew leader and posse should select a diplomat and should work ways to settle disputes. In unity, there is strength! Exclamation point. Okay. Carjacking in our hood is against the code. That's real talk because that affects other Black people in the neighborhood coming and going. Because that sets a standard when people in the neighborhood are productive and progressive. You know what I'm saying? And they're squares. You know what I'm saying? And they're square biz and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Why would you carjack them? You're lame as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Slinging to children is against the code. Having children slinging is against the code. So that's all. That's there's nothing else to explain there. No slinging dope in schools. 9, since the rat Nicky Barnes opened his mouth, ratting has become accepted by some. We're not having it. That applies today. We need to reinforce these rules. You want to know why? When I was talking about I got this glare in my glasses. When I was talking about Takashi 69, what people is not understanding is that Black boys are listening to him and think he's cool, but they don't got no Takashi protection or Takashi 69 money. So when his Black ass goes to jail, just like the crew that Takashi was hanging out with, they are serving 25, 30, 35, 40 fucking years on the strength that they're Black. The rules are not the same for us. So that's what he means by that. But at that time, it was Ricky Barnes. Snitches are out of here. So in that regard, and this is does it have anything to do with squares? It ain't got shit to do with me. It don't got shit to do with you. Now, if this was back in the day, it would have everything to do with me and everything, depending on what you was into. That rule would apply. But since we are, we get up, we go to work, we're square biz, we're civilians, we're not in this. This will bring some sort of organization to what the fuck is going on. You feel me? Um, the boys in the blue don't run nothing. Now, this is the good part. This is what applies to this particular conversation. The boys in the blue don't run nothing. We do. Control the hood and make it safe for squares. They left before they missed the good part. The boys in the blue don't run nothing. We do. Control the hood and make it safe for squares. No slinging to pregnant sisters. That's baby killing and that's genocide. Facts. Know your target and who the real enemy is. And that's a big one for me too that I felt like applied simply because niggas be so quick to murk somebody else around the way, but the real enemy is the dates. Civilians are not a target and should be spared. 15, harm to children will not be forgiven. 16, attacking someone's home where their family is known to reside must be altered or checked immediately. 17, senseless brutality and rape must stop. 18, our old folks must not be abused. 19, our sisters, respect our sisters, respect our brothers. 20, sisters in the life must be respected if they respect themselves. 21, military disputes concerning business areas within the community must be handled professionally and not on the block. 22, no shooting at parties. 23, concerts and parties are neutral territories. No shooting. 24, know the code is for everyone. 25, be a real roughneck. Be down with the code of thug life. And 26, protect yourself at all times. I mean, those motherfucking codes, this code is applaudable. This code is fucking relevant to today. This is at thuglifearmy.com. This code of conduct should be abided by in every Black and predominantly Black neighborhood everywhere. This how we talking about Black First, FBA, and the national, all that divide, all that other shit. It's some bullshit. It really is. It's some bullshit. We regular black folks, we don't got no time to be divided. We don't got no time for none of that shit. And that's just how I feel. We got other shit going on that we need to be motherfucking worried about. And I feel like this is the most relevant. I feel like Farrakhan is passing, not is not passed on, but I would be so sad. But Reza is our generation. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like the same. Like Pac left this for us to be on deck so we could take control. It's like it was some sort of foresight. Like I knew the day would come that they would wake up. So let's leave a blueprint behind that they could, in case, because when I saw this video, and I thought of that. I thought of that because we often talk about those in the woke or conscious or whatever the fuck you refer to yourself. I don't refer to myself as nothing. I'm just real talk and healthy motherfucking food. Okay. So those of us that claim to be in these communities, right? And we're paying attention to what the fuck is going on, and we getting our money up and trying to pass generational wealth on. We often discuss police in our own streets too. So I think this is a good jump off place right here. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like it was important to discuss that because if we did have that on place, because I seen that circulating on the ground. Well, let's start with this then. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna make a meme and I'm gonna tag everybody that I look up to as far as I feel like are my leaders, and we're, like the future. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna make a meme quoting Pac, and then I'm gonna pass it along. And I feel like this really needs to be enforced. Like we go to Claude Anderson and Dr. Boyce Watkins for money shit, right? They get us together with our funds, okay? When we want to learn about educational stuff, we go to like other people that you choose, okay? Who I listen to may be different than who you listen to, right? But maybe we could, use this as an example. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to get some shit that's relevant to what the fuck is really going on a real ass level, then maybe we could use the thug life code of conduct, and maybe especially those of us who like living in the black neighborhood. But all of us ain't just like gang banging in the whole nine. And I feel like if this was implemented, then we would be more on deck instead of taking pictures and putting it on the ground. Maybe we could like actually collaborate somewhere, like some shit like that, like put some shit together. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be like, listen, like I only got like one gun and a machete, and I'm working on another one. How about you guys that are like all military, and you know what I'm saying? How about y'all fools? This is an idea. How can we network where we say that this is what it's going to be officially? Like how the Panthers did. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't even had no internet. Them fools had regular ass newspapers and had to write letters and shit and put coins in the payphone and all that shit. We got a whole internet. I could jump into the DM right motherfucking now. Kind of like how Ice Cube did is a declaration for black folks. Like that. You know what I'm saying? We all jumped on code immediately. You know what I'm saying? But I think this needs to get the dust wiped off of it and brought to the table as an actionary plan in the neighborhoods, like the neighborhood that I live in, the neighborhood that you might live in. You might be in the burbs and just like, all right, sister, I'll come down on the weekends and volunteer. I mean, that kind of action, you feel me? Because if that was happening, and even if it's one of those black suburbs where it's just a whole bunch of black folks and it's really like a white neighborhood, but at least if we was on code, we know that we could call, what's the name? We could call, like I'll use my brother, for example, like Brother Mujahid. We could say, yo, we got a little situation going on. Oh, what's going on? It's it's Tatiana's I'm sorry, y'all. It's Keisha's daughter, Tatiana. She woo. Oh yeah. Well, I'll be on my way because he know Tatiana. He know Keisha, and he knew Tatiana for when she was a little girl. So he got some sort of connection, and he could come through. Now in that scenario, you know what I'm saying. But I feel like if the kids is aware, like I'm about to call brother Whoopi Scoop, and then there's gonna be some repercussions. You know what I'm saying? And if you choose to act up like the teenagers when they wilding and shit, we ain't gonna call the motherfucking police. We gonna call these fools. And if they can't get you together, then we gonna hand you off to the police because bitch, you ain't learning. I mean, that's just how I feel. That if we trying to keep you on deck, we trying to keep you from not getting shot. We trying to get brother Mujahid and Muhammad over here to talk to you and get you together. Our sister Carol, our sister Diane, you know what I'm saying, to talk to you, talk a little sense to you. Now, if you don't want to motherfucking act right, then we gonna turn you over to the police, and you know how they do. So I'm just saying, you might want to take a few brush through your nose and count to 10, bitch, before you end up getting shot. Maybe we could have that as a way of being on code. I don't know. Because we can't call the like I'll give you an example, a story of my life. My friend, a girl I used to be friends with back when I was just a little hoodlum. She was messing with some little crazy dude. Thought he was a street dude. Well, he was a street dude. Done fucked her whole house up on her birthday. Okay, fucked her whole house up, glass everywhere, ponytail snatched off. She's sitting up there with the nut.